think the media is completely, so far, completely not owning up to its role. We'll get to that probably some other episode. Most Democrats are not. They're either shell-shocked or they're blaming various things, including Barack Obama blaming the COVID. And
I think one of the big winners was independent media, long-form podcasts, platforms like this.
Yep.
That there is a recognition. I think this White House, you're going to see a very different briefing room. You're going to see a very different focus on who they talk to as a White House, because there's a recognition. Reagan really used local media at the time a lot effectively. And I think you're going to see independent media, long-form media in this administration get utilized for the first time the way that the Obama team used social media.
Yep.
Can I
I'm going to respond?
because I didn't speak up on this point, because Mark, you said on earned media, through the traditional media, Trump was just absolutely dominated with the press against him, except for about a 6-week period right after Harris got the nomination. Trump dominated social media this election cycle. His army of meme makers and the
100%.
to turn videos around, to drive a narrative of Biden was too old, then it was Harris is weak and liberal. They absolutely dominated that earned media. And I think some of it was organic and some of it was very well organized.
I agree. I'm going to comment on what Sean said and Dan said, then we're going to get to your question. So please, if you don't have your hand up, if you've never been involved, raised before, we'd love to get you in today. So, and I agree, when the Clinton campaign came in, and I was Sean, and it's not just on the Democrat, on the Republican side, I believe, unless I'm forgetting in my adult state, we are going to go 4 years without the president of the United States or the vice president doing an interview with the New York Times or the Washington Post with a news reporter, right? So they're cutting out the traditional press too, to some extent.
Right, talking about the Biden administration.
And I agree. When the Clinton campaign came in, and I was new to covering the White House, and the old hand White House reporters would say to Dee Myers and George Stephanopoulos, well, this has never been done this way before. And Dee would be like, yeah, it's never been done this way before. That's the way we're going to do it. That's nothing compared to Trump in 17 and Trump in 25. Their attitude is they're going to no allegiance to, well, the network pool wants to do it this way because it's always been done this way. It's all going to be different.
To give you guys an idea of what Mark's talking about, and so in 2016, we met with the White House Correspondents Association, and they said to me, this is how the briefings work. You come in, you start your briefing, and then when you're done, you call on the AP reporter first, you go down the row, and this is the kicker, and they said at a certain point, the AP person, because they are the status that they are given, will say, thank you very much, and that signals the end of your briefing. And I said, really? Okay, so the first briefing that I held on that Monday, the real one, not the one we don't have to talk about the other one. The first person I called on was Daniel Halper at that time at the New York Post as a hat tip to President Trump. And I worked from the back of the room forward. And then the AP reporter, I think it was Julie Pace at the time, said, thank you very much. And I turned and said, nope, thank you. I'm going to keep going, and went on. And the goal was to send a signal that we weren't here to play traditional rules. And I think most of America probably didn't pick up on any of that because they don't care who gets called on when. But the idea was to send a very clear signal early on that we weren't here to abide by traditional rules that the press has dictated to us.
I'll stay on the media for 1 second because it's, I think, super important. As you all,
bros, did I steer you straight? Right? Have I not been telling you for months that the private polling, right, shows that Donald Trump is in a very strong position in the battleground states, even very likely to sweep all the battleground states? I steered you straight. I steered you to Mark Halperin. I gave you the good inside dish that was superior to all the mainstream news reporting. I got into detail from what I learned from Halperin on the difference between private polls and public polls, how both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party were getting the same results in their private polling. And that is that Donald Trump had a small but significant lead in the battleground states, and that this has been true for a year. And I told you, Mark Halperin's show is the best way to be informed about what's really going on with the election. I steered you straight, bro.